On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Elon Musk is pissing off a lot of people, and frankly, it's very enjoyable. So we're going to have some of that going on. Obviously, USAID is the big fear. I think Raskin was talking about how Congress created it, so he can't get rid of it. We'll see what happens. It seems like funding's being shut down. Pissing people off, and we're finding out a lot of information about USAID. Trump has made some sweet deals, one with Mexico. He's talking to Canada again today. Sounds like he's going to be playing some hardball with Justin, and even talks about what his plan for Canada is. Plus, we got a whole lot of other things that are escaping my mind at the moment. Maybe those are the important ones, but all said, yeah, much coming on. Right here, we've got the 50 protests all over the place. I think they're trying to get this all over, but Denver, Colorado, for sure, 50 protests, 50 states, they're saying. They're planning on doing this on the 5th. What is that, Wednesday? So we the people reject Project 2025, which we do as well, by the way, guys. We're not part of Project 2025, even though you're still claiming that to be the case. Trump doesn't have any of those people in his cabinet. Anti-democracy and Trump's agenda, so they're pissed off about all this stuff. They are going to try to, do something on Wednesday. We'll see what they're able to accomplish. I would highly recommend not being a part of any of this. If you guys listening, don't let them go out and make fools of themselves. If they cause problems and do things they shouldn't, then they will be rounded up and arrested. You really don't want to be in the middle of all that. Obviously, keep your house and neighborhoods safe, and that should probably be one of the most important things that we do. Something super strange is this weird underground fire going on in Cleveland. Cleveland, I know they call you, I think the Mistake by the Lake, isn't that you guys? But do you normally have fires underground, especially gnarly black smoke fires like this? Reasonably sure that's not supposed to happen. Not an expert, but reasonably sure. Hopefully they get that under control. Donald Trump said Canada doesn't even allow U.S. banks to open or do business there. What's that all about? Many such things, but it also is a drug war. And hundreds of thousands of people have died in the U.S. from drugs pouring in through the borders of Mexico and Canada. Just spoke with Justin Trudeau. We'll be speaking to him again at 3 p.m. Now, I did watch he just did a presser before I went on live. I think he probably got done right around 11 a.m. Pacific time, so 2 o'clock Eastern. It was very good. It actually was about 40 minutes or so, and he talked a lot about this stuff. He also signed some executive orders while he was in there, essentially putting people into his cabinet and stuff, so good stuff. But he definitely talked about that data point a bunch, and I think I might even have some of that playable here coming up. Denmark's prime minister insisted on Monday that Greenland is not for sale and called for a robust response from her European Union partners should U.S. President Donald Trump press ahead with his threat to take control of the island. I will never support the idea of fighting allies, but of course, if the U.S. puts through terms on Europe, we need a collective and robust response, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen told reporters in Brussels. Yeah. Okay, Europe, you're going to go to war with the United States for doing some stuff that should have always been done. We're in a weird time right now, and I got to be honest, I'm feeling a little more bold than I ever have before in my life, kind of pumping my chest out just a little bit. Marco Rubio talking about state global regimes, fiat dollar, fact that they're trying to replace the dollar, and there's some major fighting going on with Trump and him to try to keep this from happening.
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
It's still going to come down to the fact that we are one of the largest groups of people that buy stuff. But yes, and Brazil doing this, you've got to figure it has a lot to do with how they're literally taken over, right? Supreme Court, literally, what's that guy's name that took over the country? And then you've got the Lula or whatever, the criminal that's the president. But the actual head of the Supreme Court's in charge of the country. And he's obviously a dirty guy, obviously. All the things he's done. And this is just one more example of what they're doing. Stocks had a hard start this morning because they were worried about all the tariff stuff, but Mexico kind of making a deal with Trump well, it sort of alleviated a lot of that. So it seems that the stock market has definitely sort of rebounded, which is fantastic. But once again, it does demonstrate how fragile things are. We've got to keep these things in mind, unquestionably. I also want to remind you guys of a great way to get out, or at least diversify, your 401k and IRA. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let my really good friends at Goldco help you transition or diversify some of your funds. They can do it tax-free and penalty-free. Pretty awesome. All you do, 4 data points, click the button, and away she goes. Whether or not it's this here or if you fill it in down here, if you've actually got a real legitimate IRA or 401k, what does happen is you're going to be given like 15, 20 minutes to call. If you call within that time, you're going to get that free half-ounce silver coin, regardless of where you put the data in, which is pretty cool. Plus, you're going to get a great Trump book, and you're going to get your gold and silver kit for 2025. Learn how you can protect your wealth. Gold and silver's doing awesome right now. Incredibly well, in fact. It was actually up. I'm not sure if it still is. Yeah, it's still even positive right now. Gold's up 22.50. It's at 28.57. Holy crap. 2,800 was the record that it hit recently. Now it's $50 over that. Tariffs, folks. Tariffs and a poor dollar, and the fact that BRICS is actually taking strength. It's a little known secret, but precious metals are going to be a huge part of protecting and holding buying power. Yeah, you literally are holding, but you're not only holding in some cases, but probably growing it. You certainly have if you got into this 2, 3, 4 years ago. You're literally sitting positive right now. If I spent $1,000 on gold 4 years ago, if I took that amount of gold that I got, and it would have been less than an ounce, and sold it right now, it would sell for a higher equivalent than $1,000, meaning buying power. Whatever I could buy for $1,000 back then 4 years ago, I could get more than I could then. Now, how much more? Like an extra, like buy Starbucks for 5, 6, 7 extra people, but whatever. You're still positive when, in fact, the dollar doesn't seem to be. Inflation's been brutal, especially under Biden. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Protect your wealth. Diversify out of this 401k shaky house, this IRA shaky house. Move into something that's stable, something that holds value, and something that's historically always done that through hard times. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Tom Homan posted this. From New York to Massachusetts to California, a bunch of politicians are about to become felons. And it's going to be glorious to watch all the anti-American garbage get arrested. Review Title 8 USC Section 1324. It's a felony to harbor illegal aliens. He posted that this morning. Today, on the 3rd. Yeah. Meanwhile, anti-Trump deportation protesters wave Mexican flags, across the U.S. It's happening all over the place. I've got some video of what they were doing in Dallas as well as in California. Crazy stuff going on. Now, again, it's the funny thing. You've got a bunch of people that are essentially announcing the fact that they're illegal, running around in a street that I think considers itself a sanctuary city. But you're sort of begging for problems, aren't you? Kind of funny. Again, all these Hispanic people that are doing their standard thing right now and going out and protesting, you guys are stupid. Very stupid. Stay inside like you want to. Hide. Don't let La Migra see you. You might be okay. But if you're literally a total crime breaker, yeah, you're toast. And anybody that's around you will be toast. Anybody that's around you will be toast. It's going to be awesome. So we got a little bit of video from this. Here's what they were doing at the 101 freeway. Awesome. Yeah, so again, not a good thing. And it's technically illegal to block a freeway. So once again, if you're here illegally and you're committing crimes, wouldn't be hard to bring in a big bus and just start arresting the hell out of you guys, would it? No. Interesting. Again, the choices being made by people are, well, you'd almost expect it, but nonetheless. Another thing kind of funny, a driver runs into this cyclist and then almost hits some protesters. Hispanic illegal protesters, probably. And then they get pissed off at the cops for not doing more to protect them. I love it.
pussy! Fucking pussy! Fucking pussy!
Y'all ain't gonna get him, huh?
See, it's just funny because they're sitting around and basically calling the cops out and trying to be dicks to the cops, telling them they didn't do something for them, yet here they are kind of attacking them verbally. Again, it's just funny how the game is played. This is the woke mob. These people are slowly going to come more unglued. It is not even close to where it's going to get. They are slowly going to lose more and more of their S every single day because of what's happening today. And these people's heads are going to basically pop. Some of them will just break down and start crying. Some of them won't be able to take things. Some of them are just going to end up quitting jobs and getting out of society from that standpoint. Some will possibly take their lives. Some people will unfortunately have health issues and maybe lose their lives. But there is going to be a transition. And these people are probably not going to make it through this. Again, I don't believe we're in anything close to normal. There's a lot of people that think we're going back to normal. No, world is changing for good. This is an ascension process. Again, this is why I keep telling people my time is still coming. I am, in the mix and doing a good time and getting my name out there and whatnot, and hopefully working on trust with everybody. But long story short, the ascension process is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here to help with. You guys are the teachers of teachers. You obviously get that, but I'm sure my audience is going to grow significantly. We've got U.S. Border Patrol Commissioner, Texas governor has signed an order deputizing the Texas National Guard with immigration and arrest authority. I didn't know the governor could do that, but cool nonetheless. I don't know if that's something that, I don't know. Whatever the case is, he did it. So whether it's legal or not legal, we'll find out in due time. Georgia Rep. Mike Collins, he says he's going to reintroduce legislation immediately, making blocking a highway intentionally a federal crime. It would depend on the highway, I would think. I'll be honest, if it's a state road, I don't think it's a federal crime, though you could call it one because it does interfere with, what is it, when you can move stuff across borders, like trade, essentially. I forget the proper name for that, but it would definitely do that, right? Interstate commerce, I think they call it. But so he says, first Hamas supporters, now illegals, and their enablers are stopping traffic to make America safe again. We must have law and order. Very true. So we are getting to the bottom of a lot of things, that's for sure. Hegseth is heading to the border. He wants to get a good take on what's going on. The announcement came Sunday from Fort Bliss, Texas, where Hegseth will meet with troops from the Military Joint Task Force North. It's odd that they're in the South, whatever. The vast signals the administration is doubling down on its militarization of immigration and border enforcement and a more aggressive approach to border and homeland security, lining up with Trump's hardline stance. And maybe to some degree, this is where some of the military might get used on some of the more difficult actions that need to happen within our country, assuming FBI's got sufficient forces to do that, and border control or ICE or whatever. I'm sure they're really good at kicking down doors and whatnot, but I don't know. Maybe we got a real serious Trend-Arawa situation where the whole entire building is taken down. Maybe the military needs to get involved. Maybe it doesn't. Don't know. I just think things are going to be crazy exciting over the next coming weeks and months. There's going to be so many pissed off people, and there's going to be so many of us that are stoked. So one thing that's interesting is the world's about to get a lesson in the whole concept of appear weak when you're strong. Maybe. Absolute Redux has a theory on it, and it's an interesting theory. I don't know if I fully agree with it. But we are in a situation where we had been weakened. I think Trump's going to strengthen us quickly, and I don't think we're necessarily going to be braggadocious about how strong we are. Though Trump, I don't know. It's, again, law of war is an interesting thing. And he hasn't been playing necessarily the strength card from military currently, but from a financial standpoint, he's right. We spend a crap ton of money in this country, and so him coming at it from that standpoint is impressive. But here is this gentleman. Where's his name? He just got a medal from Belavia. I can sort of read his thing. There it is, Belavia. David Belavia, SSG David Belavia. He just got a Medal of Honor. And he kind of had a stark warning, I guess, or a blunt message, they should say, maybe to our enemies. And it's blunt. And this is someone speaking from strength, that's for sure.
And the threats to this entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Pretty strong statement, right? Someone else is going to raise your kid. It ain't going to be you. You'll be dead. To fill in the blanks for those that couldn't. New deportation push showing results. This is ICE arrests between January 21st and January 31st. We have 7,774 arrests, 5,536 detainers lodged. Good numbers. Keep it up. So I don't think that's necessarily Secretary of Defense Hegseth, but could be a lot of him. But Homan, you keep kicking ass, buddy. It's pretty impressive. This is a good little story that was done. And I'm sure this kind of stuff is happening all over the place. But the former Mexican consulate attorney, Mayra de la Torre, say it without getting in trouble, encouraged illegal aliens to lie to law enforcement. So here is a little bit of this whole story and how they're doing this. This is definitely not legal. Giving advice on how to break the law is illegal. It's illegal to give people advice on how to break the law. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter. Especially if you're who you claim to be. So just a lot of things to keep in mind. There are many, many people that are going to end up felons. This is illegal, unquestionably.
Pueden inventársela, no estamos trabajando, estamos de voluntarios aquí, esta persona. No, nunca estamos
Oye, que para quitar los $200.
Es un regalo que me está haciendo por mi buen trabajo. Por ser voluntario. Qué bueno, muy buena pregunta. Manejen estas palabras.
In Tucson, Arizona, the Southside Worker Center, operating out of the Southside Presbyterian Church, runs an illegal alien worker cooperative. Every weekday, the Southside Worker Center links businesses across Tucson with illegal aliens to serve as cheap laborers. However, the problem runs much deeper than this. You are about to see how this organization, with ties to the Tucson Mexican consulate, is actively radicalizing and coaching illegal aliens on how to avoid and escape deportation and illegally remain inside the United States. This is the first ever look inside the Southside Worker Center. It is no secret that the Southside Worker Center operates as a day labor employment center. The organization openly promotes this fact. New laborers looking for work are provided a form asking about their work experience and are eventually given a Southside Worker Center ID. Southside openly admits that it is arranging work for individuals known to be here illegally. There is no confusion here. As one Southside volunteer put it, almost everyone at the center has no papers.
My friend wants to register at the center to work. Is it okay that he doesn't have papers or anything like that?
No, it's perfect. We don't ask for papers to work, to be a member of the center.
Okay, I'll let him know, because he is worried about that. He also did not cross through immigration. He crossed from another way, to say the least.
No, there's no question about that. For ourselves, we have nothing.
He is not here legally. That's why I worry.
They are not here legally. Almost everyone here is the same.
Okay, almost all of them are the same as him. I am like this too, and that's why I am worried.
That's why we have the center, for people who cannot look for work any other way.
Southside offers far more than just employment services. On a regular basis, Southside Worker Center hosts informational seminars where, according to Southside, illegal aliens are educated about their rights. The Mexican Consulate of Tucson has been involved in some of these seminars. In a Facebook post from February 24th, 2017, the Mexican Consulate promoted an event at Southside to inform individuals about their rights as parents in front of police and migration. Mayra de la Torre, a former Mexican consulate lawyer, hosted a seminar where she coached illegal aliens on how to lie to law enforcement.
Él no tiene visa, yo sí tengo visa. ¿Qué pasa con el mismo ejemplo? ¿Cómo está el rollo? Que a mí me agarran la chamba.
Y ahí sí aguas.
A ver, ¿cómo está el rollo?
Suelta.
¿Es penal o no es penal?
Sí, porque sí, pues.
Si a mí me tienen ahí limpiando la yarda, pero yo estoy limpiando la yarda y llegan, ¿qué onda? No, espérate, a ver, ¿qué hay? ¿Chingando la yarda o saliendo con el uniforme? ¿Qué pasa ahí?
¿Tú y quién más?
Yo y está aquí con visado y uno que no tenga visa, por ejemplo.
Okay,
que
vamos a suponer. Pueden inventársela. No estamos trabajando. Estamos de voluntarios aquí. Esta persona.
Qué voluntario.
No, nunca
estamos idea.
Oye, que patrón, ¿qué tal los $200?
Es un regalo que me está haciendo por mi buen trabajo.
Por ser voluntario.
Qué bueno, muy buena pregunta. Manejen estas palabras de tu ser. Es una extensión de tu ser, entonces por lo mismo tu propiedad también, ¿ok? Entonces nadie puede entrar a tu vehículo sin tu consentimiento, nadie puede entrar a tu propiedad sin tu consentimiento. Por lo mismo, nadie puede entrar a otro país sin el previo consentimiento de ese país y por lo mismo está ahí los que cruzaron sin permiso. El delito de entrada indocumentada que le llaman, que es un delito federal porque están entrando al país.
Desde que entramos al país, ya cometimos un error para ellos. Por eso se tratan así.
Ajá, entonces al momento en que dices, sí, es que entré a tu país, pero lo necesitaba porque mi vida corre peligro, vengo huyendo y esas son mis razones, se cambia, ok, entonces no entraste solo porque te dio la gana, que de todas maneras hay procedimientos, ¿verdad? Pero entonces dicen, bueno, te vamos a dar la duda y vamos a entrar en tema de...
These actions are not just alarming, they may be criminal. Title 8 U.S. Code Section 1324A1A criminalizes such harboring or inducement to aliens to remain here illegally. Accordingly, we are referring our findings to Border Czar Tom Homan and the Department of Homeland Security for further investigation. Regrettably, these alarming findings do not appear to be an isolated incident. Stay tuned as we continue to report the stories that the legacy media will not cover.
So again, people are literally going to get arrested. It will be some people too that are going to do it thinking that they're going to be able to get off, but it's going to be like, again, we're going to hold them to the law. This isn't going to be like, oh, you're part of the deep state, you can get away with whatever you want. No. We control we will very shortly control the FBI as well as the Attorney General, right? We'll have the entire Justice Department. It will be under our control. We are changing the world. Well, we're changing our country first, but the rest of the world's definitely following suit. U.S. Marines arrive at Guantanamo Bay to support housing of illegal aliens. This is already being ramped up. It is already being prepared. It is happening. Mexico says it's sending 10,000 troops to the U.S. border to help stop drug trafficking, and Trump has agreed to pause tariffs on Mexico. Not stop them, pause them. For 1 month specifically. He said, we had a good conversation with President Trump, or she did, I'm sorry, that she had a good talk with President Trump with great respect for our relationship and sovereignty. We reached a series of agreements. 1, Mexico will immediately reinforce the northern border with 10,000 members of the National Guard to prevent drug trafficking from Mexico to the United States, particularly fentanyl. 2, the United States is committed to working to prevent the trafficking of high-powered weapons to Mexico. That would be very nice because a lot of the stuff the cartel gets weaponry-wise comes from us. Now, Trump has yet to ever say that. Those words have not come out of his mouth. Probably for good reason, because we don't want to necessarily admit to our faults, maybe, our flaws, or whatevers. But I'm hoping we're something that we're trying to do on our side. We are at war with the cartels to a degree. We shouldn't let them get more weaponry. 3, our teams will begin working today on 2 fronts, security and trade. And then 4, they are pausing tariffs for 1 month from now. for 1 month from now. Yeah, so a whole month. He's pausing tariffs. It hasn't gotten them in full effect yet. Trump truthed out. I just spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. It was a very friendly conversation wherein she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border, separating Mexico and the United States. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for a 1 month period of time, which we will have negotiations headed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and high-level representatives of Mexico. I look forward to participating in those negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. No mention of high-powered weapons, right? So here's, some of the Congress members freaking out about Trump and the Canada-Mexico and how tragic this is going to be, doing this tariff on Mexico.
What about tariffs against our allies?
It will drive the cost of everything up. In other words, it'll be paid for by American consumers. I mean, why would you want to get in a fight with your allies over this?
Let's just take Super Bowl Sunday, okay? It's going to affect beer, okay? Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico. It's going to affect your guac, because what is guacamole made of? Avocados, both from Mexico.
And as I told you guys yesterday, and this is because I literally know an avocado grower. He's actually a good friend of mine. He's my tax guy, actually. He has a property and was a grower for a while. The Mexican avocado pretty much put the California avocado industry out of business. Something to keep in mind as Schumer's being a retard the way he is, but also immediately the day after this happens, that Schumer's showing this, what happens? Well, first stocks started low, but then a deal was made. The stocks rebounded, didn't they? Anyway, here's Trump talking about what he'd like to see happen to Canada.
On Canada, when you talk to Justin Trudeau again, is there anything he can give you at 3 p.m. when you talk again to also
I don't know.
Pause,
I don't know.
like you said with Mexico?
I don't know. We have big deficits with Canada, like we do with all countries. I mean, I look at some of the deals made, I say, who the hell made these deals? They're so bad. But with Canada, I have a talk with him, and you maybe know or maybe not. We're going to meet again or talk again at 3 o'clock, right after my next meeting, and we'll see what happens. I can't tell you what's going to happen.
You mentioned that he could agree to change your mind on the tariff.
Well, we can always, look, what I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. We give them protection, military protection. We don't need them to build our cars. I'd rather see Detroit or South Carolina or any one of our, Tennessee, any one of our states build the cars. They could do it very easily. We don't need them for the cars. We don't need them for lumber. We don't need them for anything. We don't need them for energy. We have more energy than they do. We don't need them for energy. So I say, why are we doing this? Why are we willing to lose between $100 billion and $200 billion a year? We don't need them. As a state, it's different. As a state, it's much different. And there are no tariffs. So I'd love to see that, but some people say that would be a long shot. If people wanted to play the game right, it would be 100% certain that they'd become a state. But a lot of people don't like to play the game because they don't have a threshold of pain. And there would be some pain, but not a lot. The pain would be really there. So we're going to meet again by phone at 3 o'clock, and we'll let you know what it is.
What's so important to kind of take into context, and this goes back 2 videos but ties in together, was when McConnell was talking about why would you want to charge tariffs when you'll end up upsetting your allies? Tariffs reduce the amount of taxes paid by your people. Allies, generally speaking, are going to be the heads of state, heads of large companies, oligarch type stuff. They keep talking about how Trump's an oligarch or how he's supporting the oligarchs. It's not true. The deep state did. The oligarchs are where all the money's been kept within these families, and it's been controlled who runs what. And if you're somebody that's not one of the oligarchs, you get paid very well, but you're on a very tight leash, and they've got something against you in case you get out of line. Diddy and Epstein and all that. There was a place to go for everybody. If you were younger and into the music scene, then you probably ended up at a Diddy party. If you were maybe sophisticated banker guy, maybe married and had a family, Epstein Island was probably your cup of tea. But this is how they got control of people that weren't part of the family. If you're in the family, they just kill you. Doesn't matter. So it's funny how worried about their own they are, but not us, the country. And again, we're not their own. They are deep state. We are separate from them by their choosing. Not ours per se, but we are different. Trump says EU tariffs coming soon, but out of line, UK might be spared. It was kind of funny when he was doing this speech. It almost seemed like he said UK and he really meant EU, and then kind of just sort of finished his thought. But I watched him when he said this, and he goes, the U.S. president imposing tariffs on UK says it might happen before pointing his barrel at the European Union, who said the combo expected levies pretty soon. He said, the UK is way out of line, and we'll see, Mr. Trump told reporters. And then he followed up, but European Union is really out of line. I don't know. It's kind of a weird way to speak. It's almost like he kind of didn't mean to say it, but maybe he did. I don't think Trump makes real mistakes, but I don't know. I don't think he's perfect. For anybody out there that's like, Dan, he's perfect. He's never flaws. I doubt it. He's just good and quick on his feet. But all said, European Union is really out of line. UK is out of line, but I'm sure that I think that can be worked out. But the European Union is an atrocity. So again, he really qualified that first statement. Whatever the case is, he does say he's going to be talking to, what's his face over there in England? Keir Strauer, Hare, whatever the hell his friggin' name is. He's going to be talking to him and getting that figured out. But European Union, I think he was saying it was a $350 billion deficit. And they treat us very, very poorly. They won't. He even talked. It was cool. It was just that interview thing. He was talking about how they won't let some of our crops in there as well, and that's because of some of the additives that the FDA allows. But he said in that same breath, if you will, that that's what RFK Jr. is looking into, and he's actually looking into those chemicals, and maybe that's something we don't need to use on our crops. See, it's beautiful how this is forcing change. We're going to make a deal with EU. Oh, you want us to stop using chemicals that are really bad for my own people? I love it, because now I've got an excuse to force them out of existence. You guys need to take in our products. That's going to help us with our trade deficit. Boom. Dealio has been set, and we, the American, are complete and total winners. This is all coming together. The deep state does not want this to happen. First off, they want us sick. So these chemicals being in our foods are there for a reason, meant to inhibit, make us sick, and in some ways keep us from having children. No, there's some stories around this individual. I don't know. I can't vouch for the people that are bringing this to the attention. Here's one thing I'm going to say just in advance. If Trump's using somebody right now, I'm still under the impression of trusting Trump. And if it's somebody that maybe isn't good, like a Fauci type person, or maybe he's got some good skills but might have some issues, you put them on a pedestal and shine a bright light on them and see what they do. And so who knows exactly what's going on. I'm still not at a point where I'm going to second guess Trump. I know people do and will, and maybe they've got a reason to. But President Trump named Chris Rocheleau as acting administrator of the Federal Aviation Commission. But what's kind of problematic about this is I'm going to try to go through this reasonably quickly. Tori says put this out. So again, she does stir the pot. She's, again, I don't want to say anything bad about her, but she's very good at digging up stuff. She's usually ahead of the curve in a lot of things. She requires lots of pats on the back for it, though. Anyway, at the heart of this stagnation is a web of industrial espionage, government complacency, and outright betrayal of American technological superiority. The ongoing black market sale of U.S. aerospace and defense technologies from Honeywell and Benchmark, funneling gyroscopic navigation systems out of Dunseth, North Dakota, to China and other adversaries, exposes a deeper rot within our institutions. These systems, originally intended for U.S. military and commercial aviation, are now being tampered with, resold, and repurposed by hostile foreign entities, potentially compromising everything from missile guidance systems to military and civilian aircraft navigation. This has occurred under the watch of officials like North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, whose inaction or complicity has allowed these illegal transfers to persist, a matter currently under active investigation. Yet, instead of addressing this national security crisis, we are installing Chris Rocheleau, a career bureaucrat with deep intelligence ties to the FAA's post-9/11 operations, as the acting FAA administrator. This alone should send alarm bells ringing. Rocheleau was part of the FAA's intelligence operations on September 11, 2001, which means he and his team were responsible for crafting the official narrative that followed. Suppose that monumental failure in the aviation security was under his jurisdiction. Why would we place him in charge of the agency responsible for ensuring our airspace remains secure? The answer is simple. Because the failure is intentional. The unelected bureaucratic class has embedded itself so deeply within critical American institutions that it now actively works against U.S. interests, suppressing innovation, crippling industry leaders, and allowing adversaries to siphon our most sensitive technology right from under our nose. So this guy, the Commercial Drone Alliance, they congratulate Chris Rocheleau on his appointment as acting FAA administrator. The Commercial Drone Alliance, just also interesting to keep that in mind, that they're supporting him. Obama's former law student is shaping the nation's policy on drones. Who's this chick? She's probably... Elman first met Obama when she was a student at the University of Chicago Law School. Most people think of him as President Obama, but I got to know him first as Professor Obama. This is what she says. He was teaching courses on constitutional law, and after Elman was elected as the president of the law school Democrats, the future U.S. president became her faculty advisor. And she said, in their one-on-one meetings, Obama encouraged Elman to get involved in local Chicago politics, including his own campaign for the Senate. She frequently quizzed him about his motivations for going into politics. Quote, I was inspired by how strongly he believed that policy could change the world, Elman recalls. That feeling was contagious. So Obama urged her to organize the 2004 Democratic National Committee event, which was held in Chicago. By 2007, Elman was the newly minted law school graduate. She was tasked the Senator Obama began his sights on his presidency. He personally invited Elman to join his presidential campaign. She was tasked with translating Obama's broad ideas into real-world policies. So she handled a whole bunch of that. I'm hoping they get into the mix between these guys. Let's see. Elman says, I also met with some amazing models. Samantha Powers stayed with me for a week in New Hampshire. Susan Rice. Why is this in here? I'm hoping this ends up making sense to me because I feel like there was supposed to be a correlation. Rocheleau, Elman, Elman became something of a drone expert. She's been working with the Federal Aviation Authority and other executives. Oh. So what it sounds like to me is Elman, being that she's been brought up into this whole Obama, Chicago side of things specifically, is very much in the deep state, whether she knew it or not. I'm sure she did. She's a pretty smart girl, probably. And they specifically put her in charge of drones and kind of working all those deals, probably being able to get either codes in the back end or whatever. I'm not going to speculate. I probably will miss a lot of the stuff. I probably will get some of it right. But the fact that she's working directly with this now FAA guy who Trump is bringing in, it brings some weird connections. Now, again, maybe Trump doesn't know this. Maybe this is someone that he had to fill this spot and he didn't really have a better choice. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to question what Trump's doing. I think Trump knows what he's doing. But if not, he's now finding out about all this stuff because of people like us. So maybe he'll change his mind, or if he still moves forward with this, then there's a reason for it. Trump, obsessed with neocon Bill Kristol, fired off a tweet declaring that he'd rather see the deep state running America than President Trump. And thanks to respondents on X, it quickly became apparent why he feels this way. And this guy... again, as someone, Bill Kristol, I don't really know exactly who he is, but he's exposed himself. Deep state is far preferable to Trump. I mean, this dude's putting it out. I mean, I could look up who he is. I guess I should, maybe. Try that. See how much fun that is. He's an American neoconservative writer, so he's a writer. Yay. Anyway, so like maybe he's one of these guys I think that's been running. Yeah, he was chief of staff to Dan Quayle, so he's been running around pretending to be a conservative when the reality of it is he's not a conservative. Jake Tapper tries to push somebody into a corner and fails again. We should enjoy this. Check it out.
Of the DEI expanded the number of people trying to get into the air traffic control training, not necessarily those who graduated. The head of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association says that all air traffic controllers are subject to rigorous training and that, quote, the standards to achieve certification have nothing to do with race or gender or anything else. So it sounds like you're saying that there isn't any evidence right now that this affected the accident because it's so early. You'll let us know if there is any, but I just don't know of any evidence. And if there is some, please tell us that DEI had anything to do with the tragedy itself.
What I'm talking about is the mission of safety. And on your airplanes, Jake, or your air traffic controllers, or anyone that works at CNN or anywhere else, they do want the best and the brightest. They will not sacrifice that. You can have DEI in water coolers and universities. I disagree with that. But lives aren't impacted with DEI at universities. It is impacted here. And so my commitment to the American people is, I don't care your race, your religion, your color, your sex, your sexual preference. I don't care about any of that. I just want the best and the brightest, keeping Americans safe. And that should be the standard in this department, and that's coming back. That's what we're bringing. We're going back to our mission of safety. And so back to we're talking about the FAA and the staffing levels. So under the Obama administration, they did change the recruitment standards and brought more people in, but less people were certified. That caused a shortage in the system. But also, they lowered, this is the Obama or the Biden administration, they lowered the entrance exam scores to get people into air traffic control. We only have so many slots in the academy. I want to get the best people into the academy that can pass the test, get into towers, and not wash out. So we have people in towers to keep people and flyers safe.
So staffing has been an issue in air traffic control stations since at least 2006, because there was a wave of retirements under President Bush. The FAA says staffing has declined by 10% over the last decade, including in the first Trump administration, and lots of reasons why: the sequestration deal between President Obama and Republicans, repeated government shutdowns, the pandemic, all of that. Hiring did increase under President Biden of air traffic controllers. We just put up a chart there. And I guess one of the questions I have is, one of President Trump's first actions in office was to implement a government-wide hiring freeze, offered blanket buyouts to federal employees, which did impact FAA and NTSB. I'm not saying it had anything to do with this accident, but it did it has impacted those agencies.
No, it didn't. Jake,
it has. So, well, I was going to say there is a report report that you lifted the freeze and that you lifted the buyout offers. So tell us more about that.
So I will. So in regard to the employment freeze, we had almost 1,200 positions that were critical safety positions that were exempted. Those included air traffic controllers. Actually, this last week, we had new air traffic controllers that were hired. We also had postings online to bring in new air traffic controllers. So air traffic controllers were exempted from a hiring freeze, as well as other safety positions like inspectors. In regard to offers for people to take early retirement, for our department, actually, the critical positions in regard to safety are not offered that early retirement. We're going to keep all our safety positions in place, no early retirement. We're all going to stay and work and make sure our skies are safe.
That's great.
Yeah. So, again, they're trying to pin him down again. And again, Jake Tapper, well, and just the news in general, and really, content creators, you got to be really careful. If you're a small enough channel, they won't come after you because it's not worth it. But you've got to understand that when you make a claim that something is factual, and it's not, especially if you know that. It's one thing if you think it. If you know it's not factual and you say it anyway, that's slander. That's libel. You can and will get in trouble for that. You cannot just say whatever you want if it hurts other people and it's not true. So this is one of the huge problems that many of these people are having. I think Tapper was part of one of the recent settlements that happened with CNN. So CBS News is expected to release the full unedited transcript of its heavily edited 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris during the campaign. Paul Sperry talking about this. FCC Chair Brandon Carr just now said he expects the CBS News to comply today with his request to turn over the full unedited transcript of its heavily edited 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris during the campaign as part of the FCC's news distortion investigation. Have these organizations been distorting the news? Some would say, all right, so what? Distorting, it's still sort of truthful, right? Yes, but they get a unique price for their FCC licenses that they utilize in all their local affiliates all over the country. That could be very easily up for higher fees, and it would be a way for the government to make some extra money, especially off agencies that are not, in fact, reporting news accurately and appropriately, but in fact are intelligently or intentionally distorting and or editing stories so people don't know the truth. And that's exactly what that was for. They didn't want people, because of her word salad responses, they didn't want people to see the truth. Clifton Duke. Who did he post first? How does this work? I think Andy knows first, maybe? Whatever. We're going to start with Andy. At around 6:05 p.m., KCBS Radio, a prominent Bay Area radio station, reported live the vehicle descriptions of 3 alleged undercover government ICE vehicles, essentially, in East San Jose, an area with violent Latino migrant gang activity. The information put the law enforcement officers at serious risk while an operation was ongoing targeting violent criminal foreign nationals. Clifton Duke. Andy, people can't condone acts like these by radio or TV stations. To file a complaint with the FCC about news reporting online, use the FCC's Consumer Complaint Center at fcc.gov, select Broadcast TV Radio, under complaint type, and detail your issue. You guys can do this too if you see something a station's doing that's incorrect. This is going to help keep them honest. You can call by phone too, 1-888-CALL-FCC. Navigate through the options to broadcast content complaints. So just anything that's on a local TV station. This is not network. If you've got to use your cable news to watch it or whatever, it's not broadcast. I'm talking about a lot of like your local Channel 4 or whatever the hell, Channel 11, whatever affiliate they are. They're broadcasting that signal also. Like if you have a good radio or if you have the old rabbit ears, you could actually still get them for free. They do still have those. It's crap, and trying to get rabbit ears or getting your child to stand there and hold the damn antenna while you watch TV can be difficult. FBI distributing questionnaire probing agents' work on the January 6th Capitol riot case. There's about 1,000 people that they've sent this out to, FBI agents, and asking them a whole slew of questions, how they were involved, what they were involved with, were they providing management support or collecting online data. The server also asks if respondents made any arrests, conducted interviews, participated in search warrants, testified in court, or appeared before a grand jury. All of those things are going to help decide who should stay and who should go. So that process is also underway, and I'm sure when cash gets in there, things are going to start to get better. This is posted by Roz Alerts. Sure. FBI agents are reportedly in panic mode and are planning to protest tomorrow. According to reports, FBI agents in Washington, D.C. are reportedly in a state of panic as a protest organized by current and former employees is being planned. I bet they all have khaki pants. You watch. Being planned for Monday in both the Washington field office and the headquarters. Protest is a direct response to acting FBI Director Brian Driscoll's refusal to comply with the order demanding the disclosure of the names of the FBI employees involved in the January 6 cases. I bet those of you that are guilty of actually putting real Americans that didn't actually commit any crimes behind bars. Once that attacked cops, man, I'm gonna continue to say, if you attacked cops, man, you broke the law. You did something that's not supposed to happen, and we kind of really have a blue line, and we really shouldn't cross that blue line. I get there was a lot of people that got worked up. I think there was Antifa people in that crowd, and I think there was a bunch of Antifa people that have latched onto the J6 movement because it's kept them safe. So again, if you were just on the premises and you didn't steal a podium, which even still, that's like so minor. Like that was hilarious is what that was. But if you're on the premises, nah, man, that's just, I'm sorry. There was cops walking around with people. Like there's just no way you would have known for sure that you weren't supposed to be there or that it wasn't essentially okay. And considering all the fences were rolled down and they were pushing people in there, telling people to go in there. We've got Ray Epps that was telling people to go in there. So again, it's a bunch of nonsense. It is what it is. An undercover journalist has uncovered a disturbing revelation that the IRS is using AI, or Tory says kind of came out, I think, with a little more follow-up on this, but it's not so much just the AI as it is. There's a third party, I think, that's using the AI, and this third party has access to the Treasury records. And that's the banking records or whatever. That is horrible. And that means they're either trying to hack accounts, they're looking for specific stuff. Like, this is very concerning.
What we have learned is that the IRS, in fact, has been using AI to access bank accounts of American citizens without any kind of a search warrant or even without any specific claim that they have committed a crime. So this was something that was discovered by an undercover journalist, and what they found is that the IRS has claimed that they have access to every single person's bank account. This person also indicated that they've been working with the Department of Justice and that they have absolutely no problem whatsoever going after the little guy to make sure that they are paying their taxes. This is such a blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment that Jim Jordan and I sent a letter to the IRS demanding that they provide additional information about what they are doing with AI and what they are doing to protect the civil rights of American citizens.
Next to nothing, probably. Yeah. Anyway, at least it's getting better. We're moving in the right direction. Schumer under investigation while Trump reshapes Washington. We talked about this a little bit. We just got a little more info I thought was kind of cool. And the quote that he said is when he was talking about the Supreme Court was hearing an abortion case in March 2020. Schumer showed up at the protest rally in front of the court and shouted, "I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price." That's kind of a veiled threat. Now, he can say, well, it wasn't a threat. Well, the problem is this guy Rosk. Remember him? Nicholas John Rosk? He heard that speech. He had that speech in mind, supposedly, when he traveled from California to Maryland to pay Kavanaugh a visit, when he had a Glock 17 and a tactical knife attached to his chest. Was on the phone with his sister, supposedly. Oh, he had some pepper spray, zip ties, hammer, a screwdriver. Ooh, he was going to go Pelosi on him. Nail punch, crowbar, pistol, light, duct tape. Holy crap. Dude, this guy was ready. He was ready for, damn, that is an ex-military, right? That is quite the to-go pouch. Very good. Needless to say, well, he admitted to all that. So Schumer's actually under investigation. That's not legal. Schumer probably, you would think he could get away with that stuff back in the day, but many people are questioning whether or not that's true anymore. They say, as a paid-up member of Washington elite, Senator Schumer doubtless thought he was exempt from all such rules until January 20th, and he probably was up until that point, but not anymore. We have a new justice system that actually will follow the law and will apply the law equally. And I'll tell you what, some Republicans are going to get caught up in this too, which is going to be freaking awesome. I look forward to that as well, because there's some shit people out there that need to be taken down. Zelensky's claiming Ukraine only received around $75 billion of the $177 billion in aid that was sent from the United States. I don't know where all the money is. Could possibly be in any of the yachts I've bought. That's such a bad accent. But anyway, of course he's lying, right? Especially now when funds are being shut down all over the place. Elon Musk talking about career Treasury officials are breaking the law every hour of every day by approving payments that are fraudulent or do not match the funding laws passed by Congress. I mentioned this yesterday, but it's continuing and it's getting louder, and I wanted to be a part of continuing to add some heat to this. Apparently, you got to simmer this bastard pretty good. But they're talking about Statute 31 U.S.C. 3325. 31 U.S.C. 3325 pertains to the vouchers section of the United States Code, specifically under Title 31, which deals with money and finances. I guess there's a bit of an overview. Am I supposed to ask Ruach myself? I don't want to. Oh, yeah, whatever. But he's talking about the U.S. Treasury is where this is happening. So, yes, that's mucho bad as well. Mucho bad. What is this? Did I mess this up somehow? No, cool. Let's just repeat. Elon Musk says President Donald Trump has agreed USAID should be shut down. So that is essentially what is going on. People are freaking out about this. Musk held a live session on X Spaces, previously known as Twitter. I wish we didn't have to always say that. It's really stupid. He agreed we should shut it down. Musk said, it became apparent that it's not an apple with a worm in it. What we have is just a ball of worms. You've got to basically get rid of the whole thing. It's beyond repair. We're shutting it down. People are panicking over that. Pretty cool. Julian's Rum and Milo were both talking about what Musk is doing. Musk said, of course, on the target, or bullseye, essentially. Milo was saying, by closing USAID, Trump and Musk have toppled the most gigantic global terror organization in history. Julian's Rum says, you're awake when you realize most of America's problems were deliberately created by our own government. Yeah, for those that really truly think they're ready for the truth, well, you probably are. Yeah, here we are, getting it. This is crazy. USAID building closed as agency's future is in doubt. Staffers at the U.S. Agency for International Development were told the agency's main building in Washington was closed on Monday and they should work from home. No longer able to do stuff that they once could do in the office, and I'm going to bet you money remotely they can't do nearly as much. They said, let's see, who was saying this? Musk, maybe. Yes, Musk. With regard to the USAID stuff, I went over it with him in detail, and he agreed that we should shut it down. Yeah, that's the same repetitive stuff. Secretary of State Rubio has been made acting administrator of USAID. They literally are screwed. He's now in charge of it. Senator Rubio, who's doing a phenomenal job right now, it seems. We'll see if that continues. I'm sure it will. Now, Ocasio-Cortez, one of the first to really come out screaming, Musk's raiding U.S. classified information is a grave threat to national security, she says. And they were talking about Sunday. She was alarmed that there was a report that was out. Musk, see, the people elected Donald Trump to be president, having to foreign debts and motives. And I think this had to do with the USAID. He was trying to get some information that they were saying was classified, and Musk was trying to get his hands on it. And like Trump has said, we've got it somewhere. I don't know if I've got it pulled up, but Trump was saying in the live interview anywhere that if he disagrees with Musk, he's going to, he won't let him in on things that are sensitive or stuff that he's involved with. But there's a lot of stuff that he's fine to be read in on, essentially, because it has nothing to do with anything he's doing. Right? Doesn't affect Starlink or SpaceX or any of that crap. Doesn't give him any advantage in the next time he's got a bid on a job. So now there's certain things that he's allowed to see. And she's freaking out about the USAID section of it. And there's good reason for why she's freaked out about that. Elon Musk posted it. AOC is a stooge of USAID. Mike Pence shared this, and this is what Musk was sharing. AOC promoted USAID over X today, actually came from USAID program in college to jumpstart her miracle political career. So there's a whole big slew of the information in here, how AOC was involved in USAID, how they helped get her into politics, and how she is still, yes, helping move that ball forward. Now here is, of course, Jamie Raskin, our pirate matey. I wonder if he's got some gold and silver. DRSlikesgold.com.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people. And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him. Elon Musk, you may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department of Treasury, but you don't control the money of the American people. The United States Congress does that under Article 1 of the Constitution. And just like the president, who is elected to something, cannot impound the money of the people, we don't have a fourth branch of government called Elon Musk. And that's going to become real clear.
So they're obviously super scared. And again, it's very funny because Jamie Raskin, our pirates. You didn't invent the pirate, Jamie Raskin, our. No, you didn't. It was made before you by some guy with one eye. But The problem he has is he's admitting that Congress has been aware of the fact that we're illegally paying for stuff, that we're spending money on stupid stuff, that this money is actually being funneled into other people's hands, that in fact, Congress is not being a good steward of our funds, that in fact, Congress is not following their oath. And that would be where the Brunson case would start to, I think, actually get some legs. So if Jamie Raskin and the rest of Congress continues to make noise like this, yeah, that might be where, again, that was the one thing. I've heard that the Brunson case was going to happen. I think Juan O'Savin's been saying about every damn month now, the Brunson case is coming up now. He's been wrong 100% of the time. This is the kind of stuff that I've been waiting for that would make the Brunson case possible. Possible. I'm not saying it will. What I am saying is possible. When these guys continue to admit that they've been doing illegality, and Musk is able to point out all the things that are illegal about where this money is going, the American people are going to be friggin' furious. And we would support all sorts of crazy stuff like taking away his eye patch. Just saying. The WHO is appealing for global action to force Washington to reconsider its withdrawal. Yeah, they're freaking out because we pay like most of their money. I guess 14% of the UN's agency's $6.9 billion budget, but we pay like $988 million. Where do they get the rest of that? There's no way each country's paying enough to make that. That doesn't sound right, but whatever. He's calling it 14. They're calling it 14% in here. That seems low, but whatever. It does seem low to me. All said, yeah, he's also pulling us out of the, there's another one, the UN. Donald Trump's withdrawing us from the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, which is also under the UN, the same people that we bailed out from here, the WHO. So, yeah, kind of funny. Deep State is getting starved of money, and we've been giving most of it to them in all sorts of places. And if anything, that's a big part of what USAID is. And Congress may have control of the money, but where it goes and stuff like that, like Trump actually has some say. We can't just give it to criminal countries. That's not okay, even if Congress wants it to be. So there is certain powers that Trump has. Well, again, see how this all plays out. There's going to be a lot of court cases. EPA is telling 1,000 employees they could be fired immediately. 1,000 employees at the Environmental Protection Agency were notified last week they may be subject to immediate firing. The email was sent Wednesday by EPA Mission Support official Kimberly Patrick, notifying impacted employees that they are likely on a probationary trial period. As a probationary trial period employee, the agency has the right to immediately terminate you, which means if you're not doing anything or if your numbers have sucked or you don't seem to wiggle your mouse enough in the day while you work remotely, yes, you will be fired. We are getting rid of so many people that think they're entitled because they're Democrats, and this is being removed. It's fantastic. Gabbard's vote is expected tomorrow, Tuesday. Hopefully she gets through. She should. That's what most all the people are saying. Trump Health Info blackout shocks providers. Thousands of web pages containing federal health guidelines and data went dark last week, only for some to reappear over the weekend without clarity on what had been changed or removed. But we know the CDC and NIH, whatever the hell they are, NIH, I think it is, yeah. They removed sites primarily maintained by them that had to do with contraception, transgender. So a lot of this DEI, this transgender, a lot of the environmental nonsense is being removed from all of these websites. President Trump signed an executive order establishing a first of its kind, a sovereign wealth fund. This is awesome. Essentially what this is instead of giving the money to the Treasury whenever we get like a lawsuit from somebody or something like that. Now, this isn't about lawsuits. This is about business deals that the United States is making. This is probably going to be about some of the Bitcoin holdings, stuff like that. That's actually going to be held in a whole separate thing that is going to be what's called a sovereign wealth fund. It's money from other sovereign locations, sovereign businesses, sovereign people, whatever. And that money, rather than just being given straight to the Treasury, who's going to blow it, is actually going to go into a pile that they're going to use to build highways, new airports, stuff like that. Like literally use this fund to make America better. Here's Trump talking about it. It's a brilliant friggin' idea.
And when we do all of this, we will be so successful. We'll create America's own sovereign wealth fund to invest in great national endeavors for the benefit of all of the American people. Why don't we have a wealth fund? Other countries have wealth funds. We have nothing. We have nothing. We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund, or we can name it something different. I'll talk about it with Mr. Paulson, who's in the audience, and a lot of other friends of mine. And we'll name it something that's appropriate. Perhaps sovereign wealth fund wouldn't be appropriate, but it's going to be the same thing. We'll put tremendous amounts of money through all this money that will be taken in through tariffs and other intelligent things, and we'll have the greatest sovereign wealth fund of them all, and we should have, and that will be used to do things that will be great for our country, including to invest and wisely invest and build it up bigger and stronger and better than any place on earth. We will build extraordinary national development projects and everything from highways to airports and to transportation infrastructure, all of the future. We'll be able to invest in state-of-the-art manufacturing hubs, advanced defense capabilities, cutting-edge medical research, and help save billions of dollars in preventing disease in the first place. And I'm very honored to have been endorsed last week by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That was a great endorsement, and he's very much into helping people. He's very much into helping people. I've known him a long time. That was a great thing when he did that. It was not easy for a Kennedy to be endorsing a Republican. That was not easy.
All right, I didn't realize that was as old. I mean, it's cool. He's still saying the same thing, but fortunately, I'm pretty sure I can find. I know John Harold actually posted something on this. Yeah, Trump had said this SWF would be used to invest in national developments. He doesn't have the actual. He doesn't have Trump talking about it. Bummer. Oh well. Yeah, still, he talked about it today with the news. So he said the exact same thing. That's kind of why it tripped me out that he was like, "Oh shit, this was back when you were running for office." Holy crap, that was forever ago. I saw the text message there too. Threw me, man. Let's see, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. I haven't talked about these guys in a little while. I miss these guys. First off, I just took my pills this morning, and I was like, good. And it's going with my healthy home stuff too. But they're wonderful supplements. I'm like, dude, you are doing so much good stuff for your body right now. But again, this has got an immune system enhancer in it. It's this mushroom, Coriolis versicolor. They've done a whole bunch of studies. It's on their research tab. And this Coriolis versicolor is actually good for a whole bunch of animals. It seems a majority of their research has been done on dogs, cats, horses, and people. It works incredibly well. In fact, there's people, I have had one of them come on my show and talk about how he had a tumor in his neck and how he took large quantities of this product and somehow the tumor shrunk. Now, again, it could have been that. Maybe he was doing some other stuff, some mectins maybe. Who knows? But that is what he had said to everybody, that this was what happened. Now, there's a lot of studies that have also been done that show tumors have been reduced in even dogs and stuff. Again, relative to this stuff, right? The amount of product that they take, these Coriolis versicolor, these mushrooms that are in there, making a huge difference. So, of course, with our little four-legged friends, they don't live long enough. I had to put a dog down. It's the worst thing I ever did. I talked about it before. That's why I don't have a dog. They don't live long enough, and it is extraordinarily painful to put them down. I do not like it. It is horrible, and I don't ever want to do that again. I don't ever want to kill my dog again. That was worst thing ever. But you don't have to, as long. This helps a lot. But they've got the mush puppies. This is the one that most people use for the dogs to get them into the game. It's just like a cookie. It's like a treat. It's a good way to get them in there. They also have chill dogs, chill doggies, I think they're called. That's also a dietary supplement that's cold. Maybe your dog enjoys that more. They've got the special sauce. They've got different kinds of food. And special sauce, you just squirt it onto the top of the food, and they can eat that, or you can mix it in, make it like a gravy kind of. I guess it's kind of like a paste. Maybe you mix it with some water too. But they do have a freeze-dried food as well. The Mojos are what cats are offered as a treat, if you will, and it's a liver treat. The dogs like liver. Cats like liver. So you're not going to find any mush puppies or mush kitties, but they do have the Mojos. So if you've got dogs and cats, it might be a good way to go towards, killing two birds, one stone, no pun intended, trying to save two birds with one stone. The studies also show there's really no way to get too much of this into your system. Obviously, you don't want to put a whole bunch of calories into your animals because that makes them fat no matter how you do it, even if there's good calories in there. So be careful of all that. You've got to balance your own animal's health the best you can. They've also got this wonderful pet balm, too, for cats, dogs, horses, and people. It's just a organic, natural, organic, pure, vegan, all this stuff. And it's a moisturizer. And so like dogs, you can put it on their nose and stuff like that. You know, the noses get kind of crusty and stuff because they're not able to lick them or whatever they got to do. So yeah, it helps with all that. And it'll make your dog a happier person. And I think cats too, maybe. I don't know, whatever the case is. It works for all those great products. And they've got a tab for humans. Oh, they got packs too. What are the packs? I've never seen the packs. Oh, neat. So they got a little smart ship pack, so you guys can get a bunch of stuff together. And they got the even pills, because I can break those apart and put those in their food, too, if you don't want to give them treats. The ones that they're showing are like a gel cap, so you just pull it apart and put the dust in there, and boom. That's awesome. They got booster packs and everything. I didn't realize that. And they got a food pack, cat smart ship pack. Hey, yeah, check them out, because you're going to get some good deals on them, that's for sure. And you'll be stoked you did. But they've also got the humans tab, and just, again, a lot of great products in here. This is the yellow one. It's kind of like one of those herbal pills, you know, the brown ones. The green is that the capsule. And again, the other products, the gummies are awesome. I've still got to take I actually ate a couple of them the other day instead of my normal pill. I was proud of myself. I'm like, dude, you got to finish these things up, man. I've still got one more bottle, I think, too. But yeah, these are just incredible ways to get this Coriolis versicolor inside of your body and help keep you healthier. They got, of course, twin packs. You got kids. They got these chocolate chip cookies that have the Coriolis versicolor in them, and the coffee. Coffee's kind of pricey, and I still have not tried it. It's kind of pricey, but it's got none of that toxin in it. That's that thing that actually makes you feel like you got to pee immediately when you start drinking coffee. It's actually a toxin. It's not the fact that it's a diuretic, though that toxin would make it so. But it's your body's reaction to the toxin, and it's like, literally, get that out of me as quick as you can. So your body just instantly goes into this, remove all the water from your body, you know, and that's where it is kind of doing exactly what they're saying. But it's that toxin, and so this doesn't have that toxin. You don't have that problem. So it's not going to make you pee like a racehorse. It's just, you know, it'll be, anyway, it's good coffee. It's good from that standpoint, and it's got that Coriolis versicolor. So a lot of really good things are happening for you. It's all worth going to. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. All right, there we go. Panama won't renew its Belt and Road Agreement with China, making it the first Latin American nation to leave the initiative. Some good stuff came out of Panama, as we've come to find out. So, of course, Marco Rubio was down there. He's already on his way home. And that happened, right? This also apparently happened. Panama's president has terminated the country's Panama Canal agreement with China right after a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. China was the big concern we had. China was essentially running 70% or so of the Panama Canal. That is over, terminated. China's not happy about this. This is going to also cause some interesting shenanigans to happen. So again, just be wary and mindful, because we are far from out of the woods, folks. Be safe. Just be aware. Be awake. That's all we can do. President Trump says it's going to take back the Panama Canal, or something very powerful is going to happen. He's been talking a lot about this. Talked about it on the live news thing today too.
They violated the agreement. They're not allowed to violate the agreement. China's running the Panama Canal. That was not given to China. That was given to Panama foolishly. But they violated the agreement, and we're going to take it back, or something very powerful is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like, something very powerful is going to happen. Just interesting choices of words there. Donald Trump posted this out in regards to South Africa. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention. A massive human rights violation, at a minimum, is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. We will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed. Boom. He's making differences. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that Russia and the United States are already talking. They're working together. He's pissed off that they're not really talking to him. And it's mostly because you're not really part of the solution, Zelensky. If anything, you've been a huge part of the problem. Putin's had to deal with you constantly using our weapons deep within his country. NATO kept expanding in on Russia's territory, even though we had signed a treaty with him. And all presidents except Trump broke the treaty, going back to Bush Jr., I believe. Every single president broke the treaty over and over. So, again, not saying Russia should be killing a whole bunch of people, but Russia kind of didn't have an option, I don't think, and Biden obviously wasn't going to do anything about it, so they took advantage of those two things. Well, Russia's who we need to negotiate with. Russia's really the powerhouse in the house, certainly not Ukraine, right? And Ukraine needs to be promised that it's never going to be a part of NATO. And I don't know if that means that Trump has to stay in NATO, or maybe that's one of the things that Trump says, like, look, I'm about to leave NATO, so I don't know, I can't speak for NATO, but I can tell you we're never going to get any sort of alignment with them, and maybe that'll be sufficient. Though, I doubt we'll leave NATO. We're just going to make everybody pay their fair share. But NATO, they're plotting a major smear campaign against Zelensky now. You see, the deep state, when they're done with you or when you no longer serve a purpose, they sacrifice you. So according to the SVR, it is planned to make public information that the president personally and his team have misappropriated more than $1.5 billion, they're written as dollars, only from funds meant to buy munitions. Good old-fashioned TASS news agency putting this out. So again, some would say, well, you got to question the truth of it. I don't know. I trust their news almost more than ours, certainly, when it comes to Zelensky, too. I think they've been pretty good. They've talked about a lot of the bioweapons manufacturing that our country was doing in Ukraine. Like, they've been pretty good about getting the truth out. Authorities have stepped up precautions over the volcanic island Santorini in Greece following a huge spike in activity. They're pretty sure this thing's about to erupt. There's been a bunch of eruptions off the coast, so something weird's going on. Here's a little bit of a story talking about it. Oh yeah, it's not a story. It's just a bunch of people standing around. Yeah, so I think they're trying to get off the island or whatever, or get off of wherever they are. I don't know if was it Crete at the bottom of Greece? I don't think they're actually there, but, or is that Italy I'm thinking of? I think it might be Italy. I think it's a Crete, maybe, I don't know, whatever. I thought there's an island at both of them or whatever, but nah. DOJ subcommittee invites NPR PBS chiefs to testify on their federal funding. Systemically biased content. This DOJ House Chair Marjorie Taylor Greene invited NPR's Catherine Maher and PBS's Paula Kerger to testify in March. We'll see what comes from it. I don't want to get too far ahead of this story. I don't want to get too excited because, again, we'll see. And there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and March. A lot of things. Every week, right? What we cover in a week now is what it felt like Biden did in a year. Am I wrong on that? Like, I don't think I'm too far off on it. Maybe 6 months? A Biden 6 month is a 1 week for us now? Like, it, to me, feels really fast. Ohio election chief launches portal granting citizens greater voting roll oversight. Love it. I don't know if it's like if they know somebody's dead and they want to report that somebody's dead, so they're taking off the voter rolls, they have the ability to do that. I don't know how this exactly works. As he says, transparency earns trust. Very true. He's going to do everything in his power to make Ohio's elections the most transparent in the nation. You can't give information out, so I'm kind of wondering how they get around some of that. But daily updates of voter registration changes across Ohio's 88 counties, including new registrations, updates, and removals from voter rolls. Let's see, generate daily snapshots of their county's voter registration database and provide those snapshots to the Secretary of State's office. All right. I don't know. This could be, hopefully it's a good thing. I mean, it should be a good thing. I can just see, like, my brain like finds a couple ways that could probably be abused, or I can see why they're going to try to drag it in the court. So we'll see how that plays out. Minneapolis has agreed to pay $600,000 to a woman who alleged that former police officer Derek Chauvin yanked her out of a minivan, pinned her to the ground, and pressed his knee against her back in January 2020. What is that like? You instantly, if somebody does that to you, you get money? Did you die? No. Well, then, that was really the whole thing with Floyd, right? Because he died. Wasn't that Chauvin had his knee on his upper back, by the way, not his neck, but he was on drugs and he kind of died from that. But yeah, that was the problem, was that he died. I just think this is ridiculous. But again, Minneapolis, go figure, right? Go figure. That's what's going on there in Minnesota. Bill Gates says he doesn't understand why there are conspiracy theories about him, and then immediately starts saying stuff that this is the reason why we have conspiracy theories about him.
with everything that's been going on in the 2020s, including some of the wild conspiracy theories about you and vaccines, does the world still make sense to you?
You know, things don't always go in a straight line. And if you'd said to me that at a time where we've cut child to death in half since the turn of the century, and the main reason for that is vaccines, and we did save millions of lives during the COVID pandemic because of vaccines, that if you said their reputation would be more confused today than ever, I would have said, are you kidding? You know, people will see that this rotavirus vaccine, which is for diarrhea, or pneumococcus for pneumonia, you know, these are miracles, and we, you know, managed to get these to all the children of the world. And so
let's see. We call you, you call us conspiracy theorists because we always assume that no matter what happens, you're pushing for the vaccine manufacturers because you're so heavily invested in vaccine manufacturing and been trying to push these things to Africa. And, well, whatever you're intentionally trying to do, it seems that it's causing all sorts of pandemonium, death, chaos, sickness, whatever. It seems to be. Bill Gates says he doesn't understand why they are conspiracy theories. Well, maybe it's that, buddy. Just, no, you know, I'm sure you watch my show on a regular basis. Quite sure. Finally, Juul Labs. I believe these are like one of them little vape things or something. But they're pissed off at China because I guess China owns the vape industry right now. I think they essentially stole one of their things, or they've got some sort of weird loophole they get around, the de minimis tariff loophole, which allows Chinese exporters to smuggle products into the U.S. with scant oversight or inspection. They've been doing this over the past 4 years for sure. Criminals have used the smugglers' tactics to exploit this loophole and flood the U.S. with illegal Chinese vapor products. Now, again, I mean, if you use vapes, I didn't like vapes. Like when I was trying to quit smoking, even for that matter, I didn't like them. And for some reason, I don't know, it makes me cough more than the real thing. And I mean that on all sides of the vape stuff. So I don't know why. I don't know what it is about vapes. But I just don't seem to like it. It's got a good taste and stuff. I mean, I enjoy it from that standpoint. It just makes me cough, like weird. I don't know. All said, I don't trust the Chinese vape, and maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe there's something in it that's just my body's like, no. Whatever the case might be. Something that is going to be also improved, and I guess Juul Labs is an American technology and innovation company that will be providing your guys' vape needs. And I think there's a number of you guys out there that smoke, so I'm assuming might apply. I don't know. We got a lot going on. Trump is moving extraordinarily fast. He's pissing people off at a rapid rate, causing people to already want to flood into the streets. I'd say we're on task. We're on track. Keep up the hard work. I'm going to go right there with you, shoulder to shoulder. We're going to keep moving forward. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.